And welcome back to the Engage 8 podcast. Here with Logan, Berner, and Nevan. Again, seem to be on a little bit of a streak here about getting everyone on. Say what's up, fellas.
What's up, Noah? Wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yep, Burns out here spitting facts right off the start. I think it's only right that we wish Noah a happy birthday with the singing of the happy birthday song. Burn on 3.
All right, sounds good. I'm ready.
2, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Come on, I'm getting sick.
Happy birthday, dear Noah.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Yeah, thank you guys. Best birthday present of the day, obviously, Michigan State taking that 70-57 win over Rutgers after the whole, I don't know, I can't stand Zach Edey, so I'm happy we avenged the loss from Monday and now are able to come in with a win in the Breslin. So Michigan, I know Nevan, you can't relate of picking up a win today in college basketball, but hey, that's what the next game's for.
Oh, yeah, because I watched the whole game of that one. I'm so disappointed.
Well, the good news is they play Minnesota at home on Sunday, so as long as they win that one.
Maybe you can't hear the sniffling as the tears roll down my face.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be predicting the Saturday and Sunday matchups of the NFL playoffs happening, obviously, this weekend. Don't know if I'm going to be able to catch this Jags and Chiefs game. Got stuff going on during then. And then I'll probably watch the rest of these matchups. So, yeah, let's get right into it. At 4:30 on NBC, we got at Arrowhead Stadium, Jaguars taking on the Chiefs. I don't know how the Jags even came back from that game, to be honest. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, and they were down 27-7. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks at that point, and they had 5 turnovers in total. And then I come home, look at my phone. I'm like, oh, shit. They make a comeback, and then, yeah, ended up watching the rest of that game, and somehow they're here.
Chiefs in this one, big time. I mean, it was pretty cool to see the comebacks like that are pretty hard to come by. The way you played the first half,
right?
But I don't know. They aren't winning this one.
Yeah, that game. I agree with you. I was watching. I was at Outback watching that one, and I'm watching Trev throw 4 picks, and I'm like, man, this Chargers pick was looking really good for me. And then all of a sudden, Jaguars were back in this game. I'll start by talking about the Chargers. I know they're not in this game, but I think Brandon Staley did everything possible to get himself fired. We'll see if the Chargers actually do. I feel like they aren't. A gut feeling.
I'm pretty sure I saw something where they fired their OC already, if I'm not.
OC, quarterback coach, and I think either tight ends or receivers or lines or something. So they've got rid of 3 people on the offense already.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm finally paying attention to the NFL, now that it's playoff time, and actually paying attention to my Twitter feed, I just saw I know the Bucs offensive coordinator's gone. I know Vikings did some sort of front office move.
I was surprised to see the Byron Leftwich one. That was kind of surprising.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think the unfortunate thing for people that are praying for Brandon Staley to get fired as Chargers fans, typically when the front office comes in and fires coordinators and assistant coaches first, typically it's a sign that the head coach is staying.
I don't really have a problem with Brandon Staley. I mean, obviously you can't blow a 27-point lead, but I don't think he's that bad of a coach.
I think he's terrible.
I think he's got to make some changes under him, which I think he's obviously are going to happen. But
I think the way to describe the Chargers is just underwhelming in general. If you look at the past couple of seasons, obviously Justin Herbert's a great quarterback and they got great weapons, and Derwin James and Joey Bosa are obviously good players, but I don't know, they're underwhelming as a team, and when it comes to performing, barely making the playoffs and doing all this and that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like they should be a top 3 team with all the talent that they have on their team, and then they just continue to not perform just at certain points in the season, and that's why they ended up in that spot and they ended up blowing the game. So
Well, in the Chargers offense, I think I saw only like one, maybe two. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, I can't, but one or two 15-plus yard plays. And the problem is they were down their number one deep threat receiver because Brandon Staley played him in a game that meant absolutely nothing. And he got hurt, couldn't play. I think that was a terrible coaching decision.
But here's the other side of that. That player also could have just opted out too and waited till the playoffs. It's not like it's a players league. It's a players league now. It's not necessarily like up always
obviously
to the coaches.
Obviously, the coach wants to win every game. I mean, his job's on the line. The player doesn't have to play in every game.
Yeah, but if you can't move up or down, they were locked into that 5 seed last week. I would rather have the 10th win of the season come in the wild card round against the Jaguars than have it come in week 18. And that's to add on to the fact that their second best deep threat receiver in Guyton was out for the season because he tore his ACL because Staley rolled him out in a game where they were down 28 earlier in the year with 4 minutes to play, and Guyton tore his ACL and that ended them there. So both top deep threats down. I don't know. I just don't think that was great decision-making in either situation by Staley. But
back to the AFC game that actually matters. I also think it's worth noting that the line's at KC minus 8.5. I don't know why, but it just seems really low.
I think this over-under at 52, I don't know. I don't see the Jags scoring too much point. I don't see them scoring really over 20 unless you think KC's going to get at least 30, which is more than possible. But I just don't see it being that high scoring of a game. I think they'll take care. If KC's going to win this game, they're going to probably win it convincingly and not. I feel like this is the most lopsided matchup out of all the playoff matchups. So that's just my personal opinion.
Andy Reid's 27-4 in his career coming off of buys. So
I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happened. What happened last year with both 1 seeds losing in the divisional round. So. Because that was
we'll see.
That was the Packers and then the Titans, but I don't know. The Titans also last year were I don't know. I didn't think. I think they were just a really good regular season team and just don't have the.
They won the games they needed to win. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean the AFC South. Colts were okay, and then the Texans and Jags were bad last year. So. Anyways, so we're all taking the cheese here, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll roll Kansas City. I think it'll be Trevor Lawrence's first loss on a Saturday in his career.
All right, moving on to the 8:15 game on Fox. We got the Giants taking on the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. I don't know what to think of this game anymore because, I know the Vikings are considered frauds or whatever, but I try to be as optimistic for every team as possible, and I just don't think the Giants are a complete team, but they just do enough to win because of their coach. That's how I see it.
I feel like it's hard not to get hyped up when you see Brian Dabble talking and stuff. I also think it's that play where Daniel Jones faked the screen pass and hands it off behind his back.
Yeah,
shit like that is what I feel
they just have a great energy. They're just riding on great energy right now. Honestly,
Saquon's
Saquon's awesome for this team, but I want to see them win, but I think the Eagles are going to take this pretty not easily, but I think they're going to win by a touchdown for sure. I don't know about over 7.5 though for them. I
feel like it could be a really close game, closer than people think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be entertaining. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. 2 mobile, improvising quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts takes off more than obviously Daniel Jones, I don't know. I'm just taking the Eagles here.
Yeah, the Giants are playing. I think they're playing their best football of the season. Daniel Jones, the best football in his career. He had a fantastic game against Minnesota. Made almost every throw he needed to, and Daniel Jones, as much as people hate to say it, he was the reason that they won that game against Minnesota, or a large part of it. I'm going to take Philly here. I think it's been around a decade since New York last won in Philly. I think it's a tough spot to win. I'm going to trust Sirianni off a bye, but I think the Giants are going to keep this close. I had a feeling they were going to beat Minnesota. I think I said it on here.
Yep, you said it last week. You're Kirk Cousins is a fraud, or something like that. You're on some ramble about the Vikings being frauds, which ended up, showing. Showing. I mean, I just hate like people said that like Kirk choked or whatever. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't make a read on 4th and 8 and throwing it 3 yards and not even trying to get it past the sticks. But he was playing fine up until that point. There's a lot of other things wrong with that team before. Kirk
he had a really good game.
Yeah, like it's a tough decision, but I mean his team should have really put him in the spot where he shouldn't have to be in that situation.
I mean, the Giants played a really good defense. They bracketed Justin Jefferson all game, which made it impossible. I think his final stat line was like 7 and 47 or something.
Yeah, like he had that touchdown early, but it was about
there just wasn't much room for Jay Jettis to operate, and that Giants defense, that's a testament to them. And but for Minnesota, I think that secondary got exposed by a bad Giants receiving core. Isaiah Hodgins, I think. I don't even know what his stat line was. 8 catches, 90-some yards, and he had an amazing game.
It is really embarrassing how bad this receiving core is, and they're in the divisional round.
What is Darius Slayton still a receiver for the Giants? I barely watched the Giants this year.
Yeah, so. Darius Slayton, their leading receiver.
He's their number one.
Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson.
I know Wan'Dale Robinson.
You can make a case that Isaiah Hodgins is the best receiver on that team.
Yeah, like it's not like there's a significant gap between all of them either. They're all no. But I mean, hey, sometimes
they're all equally dog shit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you think about that Giants team that was good, I mean, Victor Cruz and Hakeem Hicks, I mean, they were obviously better than probably the receivers on that team now when they won a Super Bowl, but weren't like...
Victor Cruz is definitely better than Darius Slayton.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, they're not, like, top premier receivers.
Let me put this in perspective for you. Darius Slayton has 2 touchdowns in the year.
I don't know. Victor Cruz had, like, a 3-year prime, it felt like, and then he just completely fell off the face of the earth. Sorry, he was, like...
a Hall of Famer.
Really? I don't know. I was also like when I started paying attention to football when I was like 8, and then I just remember him salsa dancing after every touchdown.
Did you guys watch Isaiah Hodgins' touchdown against that Vikings team?
No. I do not recall it.
It was from like the 14, and Patrick Peterson's playing like 7 yards off of him.
Why?
And Isaiah Hodgins just runs like a post right into the end zone and beat Patrick Peterson to the spot when Patrick Peterson had like 7 yards on him. Isaiah Hodgins' touchdown. I mean, that like perfectly summarized how bad the Minnesota secondary was in that game.
I can't believe Patrick Peterson's still in the league starting.
I think Minnesota's in trouble. Their defense is very old and aging, and it showed against the Giants, and I don't think this is not a team that's going to be able to sustain success, in my opinion, moving forward.
I'm pretty sure they're still running with Kirk in 2023, though. It's from what I saw. But
the offense will be fine until Justin Jefferson demands the world and Minnesota doesn't give it to him and he leaves, or they do give it to him and they can't pay anybody else. But we'll
defense
see.
Is very old.
Yeah,
it is. But back to this game, Giants are playing really well. I really do actually want to pick the Giants here, but I'm going to give a slight edge to Philly. They've been the best team in the NFC all year long, except for maybe second half San Francisco. I would not be surprised if the Giants won the game, but official prediction, I will go Philly.
All right, moving on.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah,
like that one sentence. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Giants won, but I'm going with Philly. Like, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the best. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like, Giants have a really high ceiling, but they also just have a really low floor.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the 3:00 game on Sunday on CBS. We got the Bengals taking on the Bills. And, I don't know who to take here because I wish we would have obviously seen that matchup from them in Week 17 on Monday night. But obviously what happened with Damar Hamlin. I like when I watched that over for the first time, I'm like, what? Like, it didn't look like anything like abnormal.
No, I'm just kidding.
But
I am so glad that he's better and stuff.
Yeah.
He's around the facility now and whatever, but I am very glad that they get to actually play this game.
I wish this was like, if you thought about this, if the Bengals won this game, that they would be tied. I don't know what the tiebreaker would be, but I feel like this should be a neutral site game.
I agree.
Well, Cincinnati, if they would have won that game, would have had the 2 seed because they would have owned the tiebreaker over Buffalo.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, since they didn't finish that game,
I do agree. This should be neutral.
Yeah, this should be a neutral site game. But I don't know. I think this is probably going to be Cowboys and 49ers has good potential to be the best game.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is going to be the game that I probably pay the most attention to and have the most fun watching.
I didn't watch too much of the Bengals and
I watched
Ravens.
I watched it up until like the third quarter, and then I stopped. And
I watched like less than 5 minutes of it, but I think that Josh Allen is so good. Like just watching him and how like good he is running the ball and passing. Like I'm almost to the point where I want to say he's like the best quarterback in the NFL. To be honest, like.
I mean, I wouldn't take him over Mahomes, but I do believe he is like he's in that S tier. Like honestly, I think it's him and Mahomes, and then the rest of the league.
Yeah, I agree.
I can. I actually do disagree here.
Who else do you think is up there, or do you think Josh Allen?
I think the quarterback Josh Allen's getting ready to play is better than him.
I don't know about that. That's kind of
no.
Joe Burrow is an A. Like if we were to do a tier list, Joe Burrow would be an A. Like he is an awesome receiver, but he might have the best receiving core in the league too.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow doesn't turn the football over, and Josh Allen. It seems
Joe Burrow has turned it over at points in the season. Like
Joe Burrow only has 2 less interceptions.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he turned it over. He threw like 2 interceptions in like a recent game that I watched, and I mean at the beginning of the season,
Joe Burrow has 12 interceptions. Josh Allen has 14.
Okay, but Josh Allen turned the football over 3 times against Miami, and a couple of them were bad.
Yeah, I mean, but like
that fumble was terrible. That just can't happen, and that let Miami stay in that game. And Josh Allen, he played very well against Kansas City in that game last year. Kept them in it, was the reason they were in it. I will give him full credit to that. But I don't know. He's been super inconsistent with just like really untimely interceptions. And I think that could be what plagues Buffalo here. I mean, you get the top end rushing production, you get obviously his amazing arm, but he's careless with the football a lot.
I don't know. I think the thing that I love about this game is the Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine rushing attack. I think both of them are pretty good running backs. And now that Joe Mixon's been hurt at points in the season, watching them both now get reps in the playoff games, and they both played against the Ravens. I don't know. I really like their rushing attack. It's just that O-line for Cincinnati is very questionable, but I hope Jonah Williams just sits out because I remember watching this one play where the Ravens on that game in the first half were designing up blitzes and getting to the quarterback pretty good. And Jonah Williams, I remember, had this one hold where he literally was behind the guy and just like held him kind of like a full Nelson. It was really funny.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Oh, this is tough because honestly, I think both Cincinnati and Buffalo probably would have lost in the wild card round if Miami and Baltimore's quarterbacks are playing.
I don't know.
So that's where it's kind of weird. Like it wasn't great games. Like Buffalo won by 3. Josh Allen turned the football over 3 times. That defense was absolutely lost at points. Obviously held on to win the game by 3. And then if you go to Cincinnati, I know neither of you watched it much, but that game was 17-17 halfway through the fourth quarter. And then Tyler Huntley thought he was Superman and tried to reach it 4 yards over his entire offensive and defensive line. And Hubbard took it 99 yards to the house or whatever it was.
I watched.
How did he not get caught? I've seen the video, but like that is just embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was embarrassing for Huntley, and I think it was it Dobbins?
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins was playing that game.
J.K. Dobbins, yeah, and he came out and said after the game that wasn't even the play call. Like the play call was for Huntley just to tuck it, and it's not like that was 4th down and like you had to have it, which is why I really don't know what he was doing. Like you reach it across.
I just remember that he tried to thread the needle one pass and like literally just like threw it straight to the Bengals. Like
that's why he's a backup.
Yeah, I mean
Tyler Huntley was terrible.
That's why he's a backup.
No doubt, but I think if Lamar Jackson's playing, Cincinnati might not even be here. But I'm going to say the same thing about Tua as well.
I'm going Houday. Final answer. Houday.
Nah,
Yeah,
buff.
I'm with you. I'm 100% on Cincinnati here. Cincinnati's
I,
defense has been more consistent than Buffalo's, and honestly, I think they have the better quarterback. Joe Burrow has been absolutely unreal, and he's proven he can win big games throughout his entire career. Yes, Josh Allen has too, but I don't know. I'm leaning Cincinnati here.
Yeah, I mean, I love the offensive. I love the air attack and the running game for Cincinnati. I love their defense completely. I just think their offensive line, they're like a good offensive line away from being
Their offensive
like,
line is terrible,
yeah, their
but
offensive line is all. I can't even believe it. But don't
can we
get me
talk about?
wrong. Buffalo is a really good team, but I don't know.
I
I
have a
like
hot take. Well,
I
not
like
that hot.
I like the Bengals more personally.
For
I
how
have a
bad,
warm take that this game goes into overtime.
It could. It
that
most
wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, like definitely could go into overtime.
But Joe Burrow had an unreal game, in my opinion, for how bad his offensive line played. That was one of the worst playoff offensive
Yeah,
line
I mean,
performances I've seen in a
I
while.
watched the first 2.5 quarters. I watched a little bit going into the third, and like literally, it's just. I mean, the Ravens just got pressure everywhere. I mean, Ravens defense is also solid. That's not to discredit them at all, but like it still shouldn't be like that easy for them. Like they make one adjustment on the defensive line. Like they were putting like four guys on the line and just got through with these because the Bengals O line. I just think they have low awareness. It's not even a skill thing. It's just like a mental thing.
Yeah, I love Cincinnati. Joe Burrow has been really good, and Jamar Chase has missed some time. T. Higgins has missed some time, and he really has not missed a beat with those guys out. So I know his receiving core maybe he's a little bit better than Josh Allen, but honestly, I think Stephon Diggs is better than any receiver on either team. So take that for what it's worth. And how far behind is
Jamar
Gabe Davis from?
Jamar, I don't know. Jamar's pretty close in my opinion, but that's
Jamar's close, but I think Gabe Davis is also
I do
closer to T.
agree.
Higgins than
Yeah,
people think.
yeah.
So, and then maybe if you want to say the wide receiver three with Tyler Boyd, but I don't know. I think we're going to see. This will be a big test for both of them. I am going to take Cincinnati, but yeah, this will be an interesting debate for the better quarterback. I'd go Burrow at 2 with a slight edge over Josh Allen, but that's just me.
All right, and then in the last game of the playoffs, the divisional round at least, not the playoffs, but at 6:30 on Fox on Sunday, we got Cowboys taking on the 49ers. Spread's at 4, over under 46.5. I don't know. This game could definitely go over, in my opinion.
I feel stupid for taking Tampa Bay last week.
I mean, I don't know. I just saw it coming. Like, I thought Tom was gonna pull some hickory trickory dickory like an hour before the game, and then ended up not because that Buccaneers team is really bad though. Like
They were terrible.
they're just not the same team that they were even a year ago.
Called that.
Whatsoever. So, I mean, yeah. I don't
I think
really know how I feel about this game because I don't know.
I think unfortunately Tom Brady's just not in the point of his career anymore where he can take a team like that and
Yeah.
absolutely just pull them to a win. I mean, Tom Brady, he didn't play a terrible game against Dallas, but
That Bucs
offensive
team
line
was so
not
bad.
great. Their running game's terrible, and Brian Leftwich, I feel like were one of you two advocating for him to stay? Maybe not, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
maybe you said it was surprising or something, but Brian Leftwich was terrible. I mean, that offense was stagnant. They ran the least play action out of any team in the league. The running game just couldn't get working, and I saw something that said they were bottom they were bottom 3 in the league in pre-snap movement too, sending guys in motion, giving different looks, and it was just a super stagnant old school offense that just doesn't work when your quarterback isn't as elite as he once was. So
Wait till next year when he takes more growth hormone and then he's back in just regular shape.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm actually really intrigued for this matchup too. Sunday's got some really good
So am I.
games. I don't know.
Berner, I
I
know the past season or two, I've been hyping up San Fran a lot, and the more I watch them, the more I kind of get closer to loving them. And I think they're probably my B team. Of course, Lions are number 1, but I think the Niners are probably my 2. But they're so fucking good. Like
they are
first
they
off,
are a really good team.
I loved Trey Lance before he got hurt. I thought he was going to be super good. I don't know if he's going to be as good as I once thought, but
I think, I
Mac has
mean, not to cut you
and
off,
mid-play.
Nevan, but like, I mean, watching him coming up in the draft process, like he was really fun to like see what he put on film at North Dakota State. Obviously, they didn't.
For sure.
He didn't. He only played, I think, like one game in the COVID year. But still, I mean, he was just a super flashy, sexy player. But like, I thought his arm talent was good. I just think he needed to really work on his mechanics, which I mean, you could do with Kyle Shanahan and probably a
And
really
he's
good
super
coach.
good at improvising. Like,
Yeah.
I was just super hyped up on him. I still think that the Lions should try and get him for like the 81st pick or whatever. I think that they should do that, but that's irrelevant.
That was San Francisco. I wouldn't take that.
But moving along, I think that the way that the Niners run their offense and the way that they put C-Mac out wide and Debo in the backfield and Ayuk in motion and all this and all that, and they freaking are taking a 7th-round pick, and they've made this guy something.
Yeah.
And I think that they're super, super fun to watch. And Kittle and just everything about him. And Nick Bosa is so, so good at getting to the quarterback. And just everything about this team I love. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went to the Super Bowl.
I mean, my thing is I think, yes, it's a bunch of talent all playing together, but like I think Dallas is also one of the more talented teams in the league too. And
Oh no, I fully
all
agree.
around, but I think the
right
difference is that San Francisco, they all play together very well, and it's
Yes.
really surprising because like they haven't shown like too much, like I guess vulnerability or like
No, you're
like,
right on.
Like it's all like all the upside is just shown for this team.
I feel like San Fran's more of a family, and Dallas is more of like a bunch of individuals. Like
Yeah, like
Zeke's looking
Dallas
for
is
big
literally
money
keeping
and-
up with the Kardashians, like no joke, like seriously. It's just like
Zeke's looking for big money, and Tony Pollard's looking for his big money, and CeeDee Lamb's just trying to get the ball. And then they got all these tight ends that are young and trying to make a name for themselves. And the defense, I mean,
What's
you might as well
cool,
just
what's
call
cool
it
about the
Michael
49ers
Parsons.
too is they have all these, or all the quarterbacks that have played for them have played really safe, and like they still look very productive just because of the playmakers on that team. It's just crazy. But I think Brock, like, I don't know, watching him in college, I didn't watch him too much. They were really hyped up, not this college football season, but the previous season before. They were like 4th, like preseason. That was because of, I mean, Brees Hall as well too in that defense. But Brock Purdy was a big reason of that. And I mean, I honestly didn't know that he was going to be a pro quarterback. I mean, he was pretty like the first time I really like remember watching him was in the Big 12 championship when they played Oklahoma. And he played really well that game, and then I watched him at points in his college career as well. But like, solid player, and I mean, sometimes that's just what it takes to be a quarterback. You don't got to be like super high upside or anything. You just got to be solid, and you'll have a job somewhere. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins, look at Jimmy Garoppolo, look at, I don't know, I can't think of too many other examples off the top of my head, but sometimes it just takes being smart, having a high football IQ, and just like good enough talent.
All right, I love Brock Purdy. I think his story's awesome. The whole Mr. Irrelevant thing's sweet. He's been good. He's a winner. But what scares me about Brock Purdy is he didn't look great against Seattle, and the numbers look good, but there were quite a few throws that he missed that you were just kind
in
of
that
questioning.
first half, yes.
He had those. His big play was that downfield throw to Jennings. I believe that was their second longest pass of the day, and that was a pretty bad ball. That should have been a touchdown. He led him right into Tariq Woolen. Then the other one is when he underthrew Jennings, let Tariq Woolen make a play on that ball. And then their biggest play of the day, obviously, was to Debo, Debo was wide open 5 yards in front of him and took it 60 whatever yards to the house. But what scares me about Brock Purdy here is he missed those throws against Seattle. Their defense is not great. This is by far the best defense he has played since coming into the league. I think that kind of scares me a little bit. The Dallas defense is firing, and I think they could honestly give Brock Purdy a lot of troubles. He just hasn't played this kind of defense. Big 12 football, it is what it is with those defenses, and obviously Purdy's been really good in the NFL, but he just hasn't not had to play a defense at the level of Dallas yet. So I think this is the biggest test for the 49ers. I think if they win here, they'll sell me that they can win the Super Bowl, but I want to see how Brock Purdy looks against an elite defense see if he can make throws that matter, because I do think this game will come down to the wire, and we're going to see if he can step up and make those kind of plays.
He will. It's big cock Brock. Can't deny. I don't know. I think it was just kind of like a first like big time like moment for him. Or I mean, like obviously playing every week in the NFL is like a big time moment or whatever. But like, you know, first like shit, if we don't win, we go home or whatever. Like he really didn't have to do that coming in because everyone kind of knew that they were going to be a playoff team. But like I don't know, I think it was just a jitters thing, and he just had to get it out of his system. I think he'll probably play a little bit better this week and make a little bit better of throws and more accurate than what he did against the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the test right here.
Oh,
this is,
shit.
Like I said, the better defense. And
sorry to interrupt, but Cormani McLean, the one of the like top DB, just decommitted from Miami and went to Colorado. So that's interesting. Have you guys heard? Let's make our predictions here. Who do we got? 49ers.
I got one more thing to say about this.
Yep. Go ahead.
I think it's super like worth noting that the way that Dan Quinn runs that defense and like the blitz packages he dials up. I said it last week too, but I think it'll be super fun to watch him like scheme a defense to go against like this innovative offense that like you don't face every week.
Right.
Which I think is just gonna be like super fun to watch, like to watch C-Mac and like Micah Parsons and George Kittle like all like line up against each other and stuff. I feel like it'll be like a freaking.
It's good.
Like,
it's definitely a battle of like two really like talented teams for sure on both sides of the ball too.
Yeah.
All right.
Those San Francisco weapons are so good. It's
hard not. Yeah, I'm going San Fran.
Yep.
San Fran in a really, really, really close game.
In a really entertaining game, hopefully.
All right, fellas, I got a question.
All right.
We got 4 games on the slate. I want you guys to rank them on how close you think they'll be.
Okay, Logan, you go first.
I think Buffalo and Cincinnati won. Well, for how close they're going to be or how entertaining they're going to be.
Close.
I'm going to go San Francisco and Dallas won. I think
usually
that
close games are entertaining, so.
And
I know. I think that score is going to be closer than the Cincinnati and Buffalo game. Cincinnati and Buffalo at 2. I think Philly and the Giants at 3. I see that being right around like a 7-8 point game. And then Kansas City and Jacksonville at a 14-15 point game.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, 49ers, Giants, Eagles, and Jags and Chiefs at the...
I'm going in the opposite order of the slate. So Cowboys, Niners, Bengals, Bills, Giants, Eagles, Jags, Chiefs.
All right. Before we head out, do you guys know about the Jaden Rashada situation with him requesting from his national letter of intent? Or
who?
So, okay. All right. Perfect. I can explain this in about 5 minutes before we got to get off. Jaden Rashada, he committed to Miami, and then he decommitted and went to Florida. A lot of them speculated that of his NIL value and his NIL market. And he signed his national letter of intent on early signing day in the middle of December. And then now him and his parents have requested a release of his national letter of intent. And then now he's no longer not in the school. And he is now in the free market basically for recruiting. But I discussed this because alleged reports are that he was supposed to receive $13 million over, I believe it was over his college career. So obviously he would get a signing bonus and then have whatever contract he have with whatever company that Florida sets him up with. But now that he's not doing that, like, is this going to be, do you guys think like this is going to be a bigger problem before with obviously them not giving player salaries and everything? Like, I don't know. I just think it's a really interesting situation. Like, this is the first like big time recruiting story where NIL is the reason why a kid, doesn't go to a school anymore that he just signed his letter of an intent to.
Yes, I do think it's going to affect it, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem as people think.
I think it's going to be. My thing is, it's going to be a normal thing in 2 years.
I think so, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, these college kids that, millions and millions of people are sitting down on their couch to watch every Saturday should be making money. And they should be in a position to, make as much money as they possibly can because people are getting hours and weeks and however much enjoyment from college football. It's only fair that the players profit. So I believe they should be in the spots where they're going to make the most money.
Yeah, I mean, with all the networking and everything, like it makes sense that like a player should get a cut of something. I think this is an awesome thing. It's just right now, it's just kind of like, ahead of the whole recruiting cycle and everything. So I don't know. I just think it's really interesting because it's the first time that it's happened, and we're going to see more kids obviously want to go for NIL, and that's going to be a big thing in recruiting. But I also think that I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be, but it's interesting. It's kind of, we're letting time kind of unfold this and see how it is with this, like, the first really big. No, NIL started last year, like with the whole Texas A&M recruiting class or whatever, like in the last cycle. But it's just going to keep being more and more interesting as more of these cycles go on, and obviously colleges get bigger bags for their players and start paying them more money, and it's going to be a bigger contract because obviously you're going to start out small and then grow and grow and grow with it. So,
let's be honest. I believe NIL was probably a thing before NIL was a thing.
Yeah,
let's be honest. I think
just
a lot of these Bama players were getting a bag coming in.
There's more than plenty of scandals of players receiving or alleged tips.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh is under like 100 right now, and I think that's not even a dig at Jim Harbaugh. I think that's just how college football has been for years. Just now,
and not even just football. Like I remember literally Lonzo saying like, "Yeah, I got paid and they paid me to basically play or whatever in college." Like they gave him shit all the time. So
yeah, and even if it's not payments, it's hey, if you choose Texas over,
we'll get you a Lamborghini in your own apartment and with a bunch of other luxuries and stuff. So yeah, it's just like you can officially publicly state that you're giving this much player that money or whatever how much his value is. All right, that's gonna be the episode. Thank you, fellas. I think went really good and got to talk about some ball. Yeah. All right, see you guys around.